This is not okay, and I can't continue to turn a blind eye and pretend that I'm happy with this anymore. I love the Final Fantasy XIV devs, and I always say that they are a blessing with their level of transparency and care, and I hope that people don't forget that in this video, because let me tell you, yesterday morning I was completely, and I am not exaggerating, and utterly discouraged. Yesterday morning before my daily stand-up at my day job that pays me more in 4 hours spinning my chair than I make in an entire month of this channel, I finished my relic weapon and Labyrinth's beast tribes and cranked out the new deep dungeon and went to play Warframe. You got me on the Monkey King and Citron and Wisp smashing out Archon and Nightwave, and yes, I got those videos out yesterday fast because I work hard and get shit done real quick, and that's my obligation and duty to this community, and irrespective of how I feel, I get it done. If I make a promise, I hold fast to it, for better or worse. At this point, it's no secret that this expansion has been in many ways a huge failure, a bummer for most people. I know more casual players who have quit and unsubscribed from the game because they can't justify the cost because they have nothing to do. Obviously for some it's economic, but for a lot of them that I'm talking to, they're just like, of course I have $15 a month to spend on something that I'm getting, but I'm not getting the value that I want out of this. And then it also takes almost no effort to find tons of people saying that if they didn't have a house in game, they'd unsub too. And we're not even delving into the details of that. Basically, if you unsubscribe, your house can get auto-demolished if you aren't going into the house. And call me crazy, but by all means, try and ruin my day in the comments if you disagree. But if people are paying a subscription to a game, they want to actually be in that game's world, doing stuff in that game. Apparently that's a hot take. A genuine feeling is this expansion that people outside of Ultimate Raiders that seem to have no stop to their incessant nattering baby dramas that the average player is starving for content to actually play the game. And bro, I'm not the only one that feels this way. For the people way out there in the nosebleeds, let me maybe make that more clear. There is more to this game than Savage and Ultimate Raiding, and there should be. There are so incredibly few people who partake in Savage Raiding, and that becomes an extremely fewer number that actually clear the tier on content, or ever actually locked or unlocked with or without echo and not synced down. And then an extremely smaller pool that do ultimates of any kind, like way smaller, like smaller, and then smaller yet the ones that do on content ultimates. Back in my day, UCOB on content was the hardest content in the game. Guaranteed I'm gonna get a comment saying, nobody fucking cares. And that's my point. Thank you for making my point. I know, it's like, you're resting on those 5-year-old laurels a lot. Get a new thumbnail image, bitch. Continuing on that small pool, there's an extremely smaller pool that does ultimates without using garbage like zoom hacks or this abomination of a tool, and I still think that you're as small dick energy as the weirdo that bought a clear with Gil and then stood in Limsa after that. And that's the kind of sewage that's clogging up Limsa, and I'm like, oh my god, you are literally contributing to why no one is appreciating an ultimate clear anymore. Because that is what this expansion feels like though. The stand around in Limsa like an idiot as a grown-up man with a beer belly on your little kawaii cat girl nyan nyan that would 9 times out of 10 in real life look at you and projectile vomit. There simply is not enough gripping content in the game to keep people around in game playing the game. And this isn't me calling for daily chores like World of Warcraft had, god no. This however is me saying that the Relic Weapons quest and the associated content that we had last expansion was exactly what many people want. There was tons of customized dungeon content, open world content to explore, ways to outfit and buff your character, unique custom content that I exist with many videos of proof that I was in there doing it, and I happily grinded out every single relic weapon of content last expansion. Obviously, I should say every relic is excessive, frankly mind-bogglingly so, but it was the custom content and doing the stuff like Diluvium Ray Grenade that I did before the Time Worn Artifact nerf literally 255 or so times for every single relic. And I loved it. Why? Because it was new custom content and I could go in there with different jobs with different builds and try it out. You saw me on like frickin' Samurai even. I was loving that shit. It made the so-called grind actually trivial, and that's for every single job. Let me go back to Warframe for a moment. That game is grindy as all hell, and if you think Final Fantasy XIV grind compares to this, I don't suspect that you've ever played that game or farmed out a frame like Harrow or Korra or Nidus in that game. While I attest that pre-nerf Atma grinding the exact same fates for an exceedingly slim RNG chance to drop back into Realm Reborn was self-flagellation at its finest. Grinds can be made significantly more interesting by giving people the opportunity to play different jobs, to try out different builds, and approach the content in a variety of ways. And if I'm in Warframe, it doesn't feel like such a chore because I can go at a mission in a comical number of different ways. And that's something that Bozja did stunningly well. Bozja would let you level completely fresh jobs up there, give tomestones, give loot boxes to open for items that sometimes definitely sold for a ton of the gil. Like, I made a lot of gil off of those mounts at the start, and you had pages to collect for those who enjoy collecting. Absolute boatloads of lore, and then you had some of the most build variety Final Fantasy XIV has ever offered. Sorry, Blue Mage. I have footage on this channel of me taking almost every single job to deliver in Reganate with different setups, and Bozja was a masterclass example of how to do this content. It actually had something in there for everyone. This expansion, instead of offering a new set of content to grind out towards a relic weapon, we instead have the Walmart discount bargain bin relics that have, how to say it, they just mean less than nothing to acquire. Contrast that, if I see someone running around with a Eureka Stormblood relic final stage, I know that person experienced the horrors of Eureka first thing themselves, and they are a good enough player that they did not get de-leveled and quit at Animos and then make an angry Reddit post saying, "Oh, Eureka's the worst fucking content in the world. I fucking hate Eureka. I can't get past Animos." Then I instantly notice this player has that weapon. I nod my head with appreciation at them and say, yeah, that relic actually means something. Now I look at these current relics and sure, yeah, they're pretty. They're very pretty and mean absolutely nothing. Congratulations, you managed to make 3 hunt trains on time and find the NPC to shit your tomes into. These weapons mean as little as this raid tier's body armor with that amazingly cool glow. You remember that? You remember that circly glow on the tank and dragoon armor and reaper armor? The same glow that literally every noob on the planet was running around with that made the game frankly an eyesore and devalued the glow for months. Yeah. Nobody uses that armor with that glow because it literally means jack squat all. Now let's flip this mentality on its head, and I'm definitely about to lose 50 subscribers, and to the ones that do get salty and mauled about it, Rogaine, I literally don't care. Not sponsored, by the way. But take the ultimate weapons. Look at them. That means something. That means that you stuck it out through a very hard piece of content that Yoshi P himself promised he would keep the integrity of and not let people simply unsync it, and everyone runs around with the UCOB book. He's promised that that's not going to be a thing, and imagine that, and that UCOB is the very first ultimate ever launched in the game. That means something. That has like the video game version of street cred. Just look at how we have the smallest dick energy beta males of the firmament AFKing in Limsa on their kawaii little cat girls in Limsa. These mean something. That's why they do it. It's not like that stupid armor glow and not like the current relic. And I'm gonna say, if people could suddenly join 3 hunt trains and get an ultimate weapon of choice, people would lose their fucking minds. They would go apeshit. So why is it that only the hardcore, and by the hardcore I should actually say like 0.01% of player base, because that's what you are like super tiny portion of the player base that actually cleared DSR or top, why are only these players being catered towards? The same ones that do all this petty junior high baby level drama that clogged my feeds incessantly to the point that, peace and love, I've actually not checked on anything in 14. I stopped checking my feeds. Why is it that the average player cannot be given a significant in-time grind to prove that they are a loyal player with a range of skill expression? Let ultimate raids be ultimate raids for raiding skill. I think that's amazing. Do not take that away. But let relics show something like skill expression across a wide range of activities. Final Fantasy XIV is not just raiding. Incorporate Island Sanctuary, incorporate Criterion dungeons, incorporate deep dungeons, incorporate Bozja, and more. If you can't make a new piece of content, I get that, but make it so that you weave it into everything. Make relics mean something, and that's what relics should be around, that it's a holistic approach towards the game, that it's something meaningful, that this player touches on many different forms of content, such as open world content, that they are good at dungeons. Hell, throw in that it pains me to say that absolute dumpster fire that was Criterion dungeons in there, and I wanted desperately for Criterion Dungeons to succeed. As Tara said, we were all rooting for you, and I wanted that to succeed so badly that to even mention Criterion Dungeons in this video sucks. I wanted to do that so badly with Criterion Dungeons. The relics in their current form could be so much more than their 3 hunt, train, tomestone grind, but they're not. It's in the game, and I'm feeling like this expansion is significantly worse than the last 2 we've had. I feel like we are were eating an absolute buffet during Shadowbringers and Stormblood. I feel like this expansion, that outside of the Ultimate Raiders that have non-stop to their incessant whatever the fuck this shit is, I feel like everyone else is starving for content to do, and then because I know a lot of these world first raiders, not that any of them have like come out publicly to even follow me on Twitter, which is kind of shitty, but we talk on Discord, so whatever. But, like, they're burnt out. They have gone so much that they're just like, oh my god, why couldn't this ultimate have been in patch 6.5 instead of 6.3? I'm so burnt out right now after doing this, after the Savage tier to the DSR to the Savage tier to this. It's too much for them. But all the rest of us are like, oh my god, give us content to do to actually play the game. And I'm not the only one that feels this way. And again, just to reiterate what I said at the start, I love our developers and they are a blessing. And this isn't me saying this out of any form of malice. I love you all, but you know this isn't as quality as last expansion for us non-Ultimate Raiders. And I want to play your game. People always say touch grass, and my counterpoint to that is touch beach. Like, get your toes into the sand, take off those freaking shoes, get the like seawater rolling on you. You might get a little bit of seaweed. I know that's gonna freak out all the people that haven't been to a beach that often. But I just want to play a game to play a game. Rest assured, I have more than enough beach time, and I'm gonna get a whole lot more later this year. But like, they won't make it to the end of this video, but I want you to wait until you see my comments that instantly are jumping on me for having the opinion of actually wanting to play the game and having the relic grind that has always historically been about playing the game to actually incentivize me to play the game. All of these comments should have a disclaimer on them saying that they just want to sit on their cat girl and Limsa polishing something to her rather than actually play the game.